And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou not hurt the oil and the wine. It's pretty deep right now with everything going on with the food supply chain. Oh, hey guys, yeah, come on back. I was actually just trying to sort out what in the hell's going on with the food supply chain, but I am seeing all sorts of weird stuff going on throughout every sector. And eventually, like we've talked about, this is going to reach critical mass, and we're going to hit a boiling point. If you want to use that analogy, the boiling frog, we're almost there. And I found this article last night. You know what I was thinking about? I was talking to my wife last night. We were just trying to figure out what in the hell's going on with the food supply chain. Why all of a sudden are we having shortages on all these normal things? Like, for example, the dog food I've been feeding my dog for like over 8 years now, since he was a pup. We've been feeding, since he got off of pup food and got onto adult dog food, we've been feeding him the same brand of dog food. And it was an Alpo brand. I don't recall what it was called, but anyways, red bag Alpo brand. We got it for like $8 for, 15, 16 pounds for years and years. And my wife said it's just not available anymore. Well, today I went to another store. Almost all of their dog food was gone off the shelves. I mean, lots of empty spaces, lots of cans pushed up to the front to make it look like there's still things there, but not really. I mean, just unbelievable. So, yeah, that's your dog and that's not a human, so that's a little bit different story, and we can get our dogs by, but we're going to start seeing this stuff cascading out of control. And I was going over some of these different fires mainly in all of these different food plants around the U.S. And then, of course, we had the bird flu epidemic where they came in and killed just millions and millions of chicken, laying hens and meat birds, all of them, turkeys as well. So I don't know what in the hell's going on, but it just struck me last night. I told my wife, I'm like, I can't find any connection between all these fires or anything as hard as I look. They seem very suspicious because of timing. But when you look into each individual one, there's nothing really suspicious behind it. It's just some accidental fire that happened in most cases. There are a couple of them that are pretty suspicious, but I don't really think this is any sort of terrorism. I think this is just, my conclusion is I believe this is an act of God, guys. That's what it hit me like a ton of bricks last night when I was talking to my wife. I was like, oh my God, could this be an act of God with everything going on in combination? I mean, could we be seeing the book of Revelations playing out right before our very eyes right now? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. It sort of looks like that's what's happening. So I encourage you, if you're a Christian, even if you're not a Christian, go read the book of Revelations and see if you're picking up on the same things that I'm picking up on. But I wanted to read through some of these things. The whole list is like almost 90, it's almost 100 different things that have happened to the food supply chain since January 11th, 2021. The first fire that there was, it destroyed a 75,000 square foot food processing plant in Fayetteville. Next up, it was on April 30th, 2021, a fire ignited inside the Smithfield Food Pork Processing Plant in Monmouth, Illinois. 7/25/21, a 3-alarm fire at the Kellogg plant in Memphis. 170 emergency personnel responded to the call. On 7/30/21, firefighters on Friday battled a large fire at Tyson River Valley Ingredients, and then that's in Huntsville, Alabama. 8/23/21, fire crews were called to the Paddock Meat Production Company on Ewing Road in Austell, wherever that is. I'm not sure. It doesn't say the state. 9/13/21, a fire at the JBS beef plant in Grand Island, Nebraska on Sunday night forced the halt of slaughter and fabrication lines. 10/31/21, a 5-alarm fire ripped through the Darigold butter production plant in Caldwell, Illinois. On 11/15/21, a woman is in custody following a fire at the Garand County Food Pantry. I mean, so you guys, you see what I'm saying? There's just fire after fire after fire after fire. And these all appear to be, at least on the surface, accidental things. So what is going on here? Skipping ahead, on 1/7/22, damage to a poultry processing plant on Hamilton Mountain following an overnight fire. On 1/13/22, firefighters worked for 12 hours to put out a fire at the Cargill Nutrina plant in LeCompte, Louisiana. On 1/31/22, a fertilizer plant with 600 tons of ammonium nitrate inside caught on fire. 2/3/22, massive fire swept through Wisconsin River Meats in Mauston. 2/3/22, at least 130 cows were killed in a fire at Percy Farm in Stowe. And I don't know if you heard or not, but like 10,000 cows, they're saying, died suddenly of heat in Kansas. Now that does seem very suspicious, because I live in a state where we have, weeks and weeks of 100, triple digit temperatures for weeks and weeks. And I've never, ever heard, and we've got ranchers all over the place, and I've never, ever heard of this many cattle just dropping dead on a feedlot like this. So something does seem suspicious about that particular scenario. But back to this. 2/15/22, a Bonanza Meat Company goes up in flames in El Paso, Texas. 2/15/22, nearly a week after the fire destroyed most of the shearers' food plant in Hermanston. 2/16/22, a fire broke out in the U.S. largest soybean processing biodiesel plant in Indiana. 2/18/22, an early morning fire tore through the milk parlor at Bestview Farm. 2/19/22, 3 people were injured and 1 was hospitalized after an ammonia leak at Lincoln Premium Poultry in Fremont. And again, I'm not saying accidents don't happen in production manufacturing facilities all the time. They do. But for this many accidents to be happening consistently over and over and over, almost at least every other day, I'm turning on the news and I'm seeing another fire or another thing. That now maybe we're hypersensitive to it. That could be what it is. Maybe we're hypersensitive because we're all watching the food supply and we're paying more attention to it. But again, I just don't remember in any of my lifetime hearing about this many food processing facilities having all these accidents that are slowing down production. And it's not just there. It doesn't stop with that. It's auto parts. It's everything, It's what a lot of us warned people about years ago. When we're reliant on foreign countries to supply us with our goods, then that's not a very secure, safe way to be. You should be making your things here in the United States. But they've let the genie out of the bottle here. They've opened Pandora's box, whatever you want to say. But I think the reason we're seeing all this stuff happening here in the United States is because as a nation, we've turned our back on the Creator, on God. And you can see it. It's apparent in the social religion that the Democrats and liberals are always pushing. The communists here in the country are always pushing these social transformations. They're always pushing for this social change and this reconstruction and abandonment of American values and Christian values. They don't like to admit that America was founded on Christian ideology and principles. So back into the story here. 2/22/22. The shearers' food plant in Hermiston caught fire after a propane boiler exploded. 2/28/22, a smoldering pile of sulfur quickly became a raging chemical fire at Nutrin Ag Solutions. 2/28/22, a man was hurt after a fire broke out at Shadowbrook Farm and Dutch Girl Creamery. And here we're going to get into a lot of the chickens that have been destroyed. So I'm just going to go through these quickly. I'm not going to read all the dates. But in March, 290,800 chickens were destroyed in Missouri. 644,000 were destroyed in Maryland. 243,000 were destroyed in Newcastle, Delaware. 633,000 were destroyed at another farm. 915,000 were destroyed at another farm. 3/14/22, a blaze at 244 Meadow Drive was discovered shortly after 5 p.m. by farm owner Wayne Hoover. On 3/14/22, 2.7 million chickens were destroyed at a farm in Jefferson, Wisconsin. On 3/16/22, a fire broke out at Walmart Warehouse Distribution Center and has cast a large plume of smoke throughout Indianapolis. Nestle food plant was extensively damaged in a fire. New production destroyed in Jonesboro, Arkansas. 3/17/22, 5 million chickens were destroyed at an egg farm in Buena Vista, Iowa. 147,000 chickens in Delaware. 315,000 chickens destroyed in Maryland. 172,000 turkeys destroyed in South Dakota. 570,000 chickens destroyed at a farm in Butler, Nebraska. 3/24/22, firefighters from numerous towns are battling a major fire at the McCrum potato processing facility in Belfast. So this stuff is going on all over the place. What is the deal here? What is the deal here? Is this an act of God? That is my question for this video to you. What do you think about this? Are we well into the book of Revelations now? And we're on to the approaching famine phase of things, I don't know. I don't have the answers. You know, God doesn't speak directly to me. I've never heard the God voice in my head or anything. But when I use my eyes and my ears to look around and hear and listen and see what's going on, it certainly seems like something very nefarious is piling up against normal people that just want to be able to feed their families and drive back and forth to work without having to take a second job just to afford gas. So things are going off the charts, and I've told you guys before in other videos, I believe it's being done intentionally by design by the people that are in control right now. And also in the background, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking this could be judgment from God. There are many instances in the Bible where God just has enough and he passes judgment. And you know, the United States is looking a lot more and more like Sodom and Gomorrah all the time, especially with all this stuff I'm seeing pushed down the children's throats and into their minds about all of this just non-binary gobbledygook communism that they're trying to push on the youth of America. So I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. Do you think this is God's punishment, God's wrath being exposed? And we're just seeing the beginning of it. This is not the entirety of God's wrath. It's very severe when it happens. Could we see hundreds of millions of starving Americans in the streets, out of work, unemployed, not able to buy food when the supply chain shuts down? I hope you're preparing. That part of the reason I made the video out here is I wanted you guys to see the garden. I wanted you to just see this in the background. This is what we're working on. You know, it's just a drop in the bucket of what my wife and I consume yearly, but it's something. It's better than nothing. And I'm just telling you, lean times are coming. Famine is coming. I've been saying it for a long time. Stock up while you can, because who knows how long this fragile supply chain is going to last. Appreciate you guys tuning in. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. You know, please, Lord, forgive us of our sins. You know, it wasn't all of us, that's for sure. I mean, I don't know. I sometimes wonder if we're not approaching the point where we need to take lamb's blood or something and smear it on our doors just so that that angel of death will pass by our house. Because, you know, kidding aside, I mean, civilizations are killed all the time. You can look back through history, especially communist history, and see how many hundreds of millions of people have been starved to death by their own governments. And do you think for a second our own government wouldn't do something so goofy and so, you know, wrong that it would end up leading to our starvation? I mean, the look of things, the answer to that question is pretty apparent. So let me know down in the comments what you guys are thinking about, what you think about all these fires. Is it terrorism of some kind? What do you think about the 10,000 cattle dropping dead of heat strokes in Kansas? I mean, that seems pretty unusual to me. Was that some sort of an attempt at insurance fraud? I mean, did the guy forget to turn the water on? I mean, what do you think happened? I don't believe 100-degree high humidity heat killed those cattle. Maybe it did, but it must have been in combination with something else, like lack of water, or maybe they were on the wrong kind of feed or something like that. I don't know, but things are getting weirder and weirder by the day. Hang on tight, guys. Prepare while you can. I appreciate you stopping by, and until then, we'll see you next time.